Welcome to our first edition of Extra Word. I'm Father James Yamauchi. I'm here with John Peter, my brother, who is our producer. And we are very excited to talk a little more in detail about some of the stories that we have released.
So for this episode, if you are wanting a wholesome tale for the whole family, which is going to be less than 5 minutes or thereabouts, then you probably want to switch to another one of our stories. This is a bonus episode that is going to go more in depth into some of our first episodes. So hopefully we're going to do this regularly. We're going to cover about the first 10 episodes that we did. Not all of them. We're going to pick a few that we wanted to talk more about from the first 10 episodes. And we're going to go more in depth into the stories and bring up some other interesting tidbits.
Exactly, because what we found in the editing process is there's so much information in each of our episodes that just can't be in the final cut and on the actual story. So we thought it'd be a shame to have all this information and not share it with our audience. And so I also just want to thank everybody for their support and listening to the podcast each and every Wednesday.
All right, Father, so you want to start us off by talking about a novel of Thanksgiving.
I was very excited to be able to have this story. I remember as a teenager listening or watching The Song of Bernadette. Or is it A Song of Bernadette? I can't remember now.
I think it's a song for Bernadette.
A Song of Bernadette. I think that's what it's called. I thought it was A Song of Bernadette.
It's Song of Bernadette. Oh, you're right. It's a Song of Bernadette.
It's a song of
the Song of Bernadette.
The Song of Bernadette. And what's fascinating to me,
we've seen this movie. Trust us.
We have seen the movie, even though we can't remember the title name. But what's fascinating to me, first of all, is just here's a movie that was released in the 1940s in Hollywood, and it won awards in the Academy Award and Golden Globes. A movie about a young woman in the 19th century who receives apparitions of the Blessed Virgin Mary, which, as we know as Catholics, have been approved by the Church. So for me, that's just fascinating. But then to learn that the movie was based upon a novel was fascinating as well. And another detail is the author of this novel. We didn't mention it in the actual story, but Franz Werfel is Jewish. And it is for that reason and for being an intellectual that he flees Austria during World War II. And he finds himself in this little town of Lourdes in English, trying to escape from Nazi Europe and go to America. And it's just inspiring to see how all of these came together to tell the story, inspirational story of a saint named Bernadette Soubirous.
Yeah, he must have really been touched by Lourdes when he was there to promise to God that that would be what he would write about if he was able to escape.
I definitely believe so. And I also think he was touched by the care of the priests and religious in that small town in which he and his wife were essentially refugees trying to flee to America. It also reminds me of the thousands of heroic deeds done by ordinary men and women during World War II in order to save those who were being persecuted.
Have you ever been to Lourdes?
I have. I've been there one time during Holy Week, so it was a little bit different than the norm. But I understand you've been to Lourdes once too.
Yeah, we went, my mom and our mom.
We're brothers.
So, our mom, myself, and a friend of my mom's went to Lourdes. She was dying of cancer at the time, and she has since passed away. So, of course, we were praying for a miracle there. And let me tell you something. We went in the winter. And, of course, you know, when you go there, you bathe in the spring or in the water. By that, I mean, they have a group of volunteers which march you in, turn you around. Before you know it, you're being dunked into the water and then pull you up and then kick you out. So very efficient process. And in the winter, that water is cold.
I bet.
Yeah. But Uh, it's a really truly beautiful place. And though my mom's friend didn't receive physical healing, she then of course died later on as a result of her cancer. She was really touched and was really at peace when she left. And a priest told my mom that no one leaves Lourdes without a miracle.
Hmm.
And it's not always physical, but it's sometimes just that peace that comes from God. And really, in many ways, that's a greater miracle than the physical healing.
Yes, because, Jesus promises us, I cannot give you the peace of this world. He gives us a peace the world cannot understand.
All right, moving along, we have the Christmas Hay. This was the story of St. Francis of Assisi, or bringing back the tradition of the Christmas creche.
Yes, and something about this story that really touches upon all the episodes, at least from my perspective, is the exciting part of being able to do research and really entering into the particular story, the character, the life of the character, and his surroundings or her surroundings. And so in this case, while it's popularly known of St. Francis having a role in the modern development of the Christmas creche, it was great to be able to actually look at the work of St. Bonaventure, who was a contemporary of St. Francis, a Franciscan priest himself, and also a great intellectual who was friends with St. Thomas Aquinas, recount the specific details about that first Christmas creche that St. Francis brought about in the town of Greccio that has become a model for the modern Christmas manger.
Yeah, pretty cool. It's not, we don't just have any source on this. We actually got quotes in this story directly, the characters and such, from St. Bonaventure's account.
Yes, and that's always a fascinating thing for me is how to tell historical truths in a story format. And whenever you find a little nugget of a quote that you just know you would never come up on your own unless it was actually historical fact, that's a win for the development of the story.
Right. It's so fun to find when you find these little things that you wouldn't really believe are true or doesn't quite sound right. It wouldn't strike you as something that would happen, and it sounds like an odd detail, but usually the details that you hear in these stories that sound kind of odd, those are usually the ones that are absolutely 100% true.
And it's great, the editing process of what we do to verify things. It's just wonderful, and it's a great way. I've always loved history, and so it's a wonderful way to learn maybe some popular stories and find out a deeper understanding and meaning of the truth of those stories.
Yeah, because I remember that's the story that you were working on this week, this week. You had a quote in there or a comment in there, and I thought, oh, that sounds really odd. And I looked at your links and your research, and I realized, oh, actually, that's one of the main things that's legitimate historical fact this character made his comment. And I thought, okay, well, that's going in there.
Yeah, so it's always fascinating, and it's a delight. Yeah, I'll introduce this next one. The Soldier Song. I've always been a big history fan in general, but I've always had a great interest in the Civil War.
This is one I actually kind of assumed that everyone already knew.
I did not know it. And you got to explain, why are we talking specifically about this story?
Right. We're talking specifically about the story because we don't always do our little addendums at the end of the story unless there's something we feel we need to explain, or just something more we can explain immediately that's not readily apparent in the story, or we don't resolve at the end. We didn't really observe that for this story, the Soldier Song, rewriting the Soldier Song, but our sister Stephanie got kind of upset that we didn't have the addendum and didn't have the extra information. So this is to rectify that. So here is our extra information on rewriting the Soldier Song and the additional background. So now, of course, this is Battle Hymn of the Republic that we're talking about with rewriting the Soldier Song, the song that was written by Julia Ward Howe as a rewrite of John Brown's Body. She was not as big of a fan of John Brown's Body lies a moldering in the grave. So she changed the lyrics and created the Battle Hymn of the Republic. For those who don't know the name, because I didn't know the name for a long time, It's mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. And then it goes to the chorus. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Everyone knows this one. This side of the pond anyway. So, gotta remember, we could have people from other countries listening.
That's true. That's true. And so, but what's also fascinating is that there was an early adaptation of this tune.
Right. We mentioned that in the story. John Brown's Body is actually not the original song. It's another rewrite of an earlier hymn. Earliest version of this was called Canaan's Happy Shore. And it's like, oh, brothers, will you meet me? Oh, and I'm not going to try to sing this. On Canaan's happy shore. So that was the original hymn. It came from revivals, camp meetings, stuff in the United States. And so it was pretty well known around the whole country at the time. And then when the Civil War broke out, some soldiers came up with the John Brown's Body song. It's actually kind of funny. If you read into it a bit more, it's kind of funny because it came about with this group of soldiers, one of whom had the misfortune of being named John Brown. So he, of course, got harassed by everyone else.
Oh, man. Oh, man. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I definitely know this song, but I never knew the history behind it.
And now you know the rest of the story.
So I think that we're going to wrap it up there.
Yep, we are. So if you have anything else, if you have anything for us, we are on Facebook, Instagram. You can email us. You can find our email at sonsofthunderrock.com. Sonsofthunderrock.com is also where you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us if you like this bonus episode. Tell us if you wish we just stick to telling stories, or tell us if you really like this and we missed your favorite episode that you want us to expound on further, or if you have other episodes that you think that we didn't expound on enough and you want to hear more about any other stories. And if you have any story ideas, please let us know through, again, Facebook, Instagram, sonsofthunderrock.com. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, John Peter, and we will see you next time on each Wednesday for another episode of That's the Word.